We're going to start this afternoon by looking at graphics, real-time data integration, and AI innovations. And you can probably tell that Manu is with us, but not with us in the room at the moment. So unfortunately, he's not able to join us today. But we're trying to have a sort of combination of a Zoom-based and phone-based call. So Manu, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you okay.
And I think we can hear you. Can people at the back hear Manu all right? Yeah, just about? Excellent. Okay. Well done, Rux. I think it works. Fantastic. Okay, so thank you for bearing with us. So we're going to have a deep dive now into graphics, data, and as I mentioned, the role of AI as well. So we have Manu on the big screen. And next to me, Ivan as well. Ivan is from Swiss Timing, where he is Head of Business Innovation. So thank you both for joining us today. We've heard lots already about capturing and sharing content, and we now want to explore the use of data and graphics as part of that storytelling process. So Manu, hopefully, if this system works, you're going to be able to show us some slides, some videos that are really going to help to explain what FIS is doing.
Thanks for that. Just give me an okay if you hear me well.
Yep, just about, yeah. Thank you.
And again, apologize, cannot be with you, and I regret myself because I missed the social time, which is the most important of your session. And very appreciate this invitation. Try to be as concise as possible. Yeah, I've been asked to talk about this real-time data integration. And if you see that,
Not yet.
yes, the data is a key asset for us because alpine skiing, if we talk about alpine skiing today, it's all about performance. But we have been talking for decades, and if we have not a comprehensive performance, it's not an asset anymore. It's just a result and a surprise at the finish line. Therefore, the focus has been given on the context and how we can see the difficulties and how you can interpret the variables of the performance, and a couple of words on the prediction versus projection. What does it mean? And what kind of mistake we could do. Briefly, it's here a cheese out from the brilliant broadcast from Michael Couder. You see how the time is distributed for the top 20 guy, even more, during your program. And you can see here the big part, 50% is the run, but even more because you need to add this yellow part, which is the upper part of the run. So 67% of the time is just simply watching a skier skiing down. And then you have 8% is a skier slowing down in a finish area, 5% a skier in the start gate, and it's like insignificant other 2%, so VIP or friends, and the leaderboard 1%, reaction time 3%, and slow-mos 30%. And this cheese tells you that we don't have so much time to tell stories if we are not using the live show and when the skiers are skiing down, basically. This is the reason, okay, we took the rain, start to be innovative in the way to show the data. So here is an extract from the broadcast from Salba, also under the direction of Michael Kögler with ORF and Infront. And we'll see an example of, to give a context. So here we give as a context, back here, we give as a context the jump, so the location, and immediately in real time, the performance. And also the context is putting a lot of attention on the jump and the importance of the speed, takeoff versus landing. And because you have a repetition and you have multiple times this scenario, commentators and viewers, they get used, and then they can focus on the real thing. A very similar case on the man side, where you have been also developing this AR in real time. So you can see how also, and this Ivan will explain you how quick the data is coming, because it's almost coming before it's landing, almost. Another example, again on the speed with different information. And here has been very well appreciated by the commentators, because it's a key factor, the speed in the jump, to accumulate the speed for the next section. And we have seen massive gap between best and let's say only the top 15 guy. So this is an example of giving the context of jump and speed for the speed discipline, because here we want to focus on the speed discipline. And an example how we can use the terrain to better fit the data into the terrain and not having, let's say, an over-exaggeration of graphics over the screen. So it has been a new way to test. Another example here, and I change discipline. This is more technical event. Here is the slalom in Madrid Campillo. Our challenge is to let the viewer having the capacity to understand if, in this case, Henrik Kristoffersen is skiing to be green at the finish line, or he will lose. You will see on the screen a bar developing with the ghost dot moving and some color changing. Some are already familiar of this graphic in the assembly, some are not. So I just explained that the color represents how fast the skier is at this gate compared to the leader. It means that this is the instant, let's say, speed or performance at this gate. So then you can understand if when you watch a skier, your eyes can also see the color, and you can understand if it corresponds to a movement fast or a motion slow. And in addition to that, you will see like a pop-up coming when the athlete is making something unexpected, like a mistake, or something unexpected, like skiing very fast.
Manu, we cannot. Wanted to explain before.
So you see, here we start, and the bar will develop, and it follows exactly where the skier is. And because the sensors are giving an instant time at each gate, you can follow also the performance. Everything is very quick. We are in slalom. Despite on everything quick, get used to that. And you will see here, Henrik will make a mistake at the top of the steep part. And this make a mistake, and we see suddenly the interpretation of the mistake with this pop-up with a quarter of a second. And then surprisingly, Henrik is going super fast, and he's also lightning a green pop-up, which means that he will cover 1200, and at the end is the leader in the bottom. So it's a pretty nice example, because Henrik could light two cases, one here doing this mistake, and you could inform that the price of the mistake was this one, and another one because accelerating on the last part is very talented in this kind of section and course set, lightning this pop-up with in two gates recovering 1200 to finally cross the finish line with minus 13. So this is an example of how we are at the moment displaying the real-time information in a technical event. Another example, broadcast last week in Åre, in Sweden, just to display what's happening in GS. Our challenge was how we can give some prediction, give some information, but not project the result. So we still need to give the suspense as the maximum, because if the slope are designed well, you have a lot of variables on the slope, means that despite on being red on the top, it can be green on the midsection, and you can still lose at the bottom. And this graphic was our last development to explain to the viewer the different phase of a run, and not only focusing on the 3 split time. I give you back the floor, George, for some question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Manu. Thank you. So hopefully everyone got that. Some fantastic examples there of how that data and how those graphics are able to kind of add another layer and really help to explain the action there. So just talk us through Swiss Timing's role in some of this, and in particular, the immediacy as well, because one of the big points that Manu was touching on there is the requirement of speed and being able to turn this around so quickly and being able to display it so quickly as well.
Well, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, everything you see is ultimately our technologies. So you saw us here as Longines. So we are called Longines Timing during Alpine events. We are called Omega during the Olympic Games, or when you're at cross country, we are called Certina. So all of this is our technologies, but the most important part is that we have decided years ago to go away from just capturing the result, but telling the story of the performance from the beginning to the end. And now telling the story, this is where we have this fantastic cooperation, especially with Manu in Alpine, not just to put out data, because that doesn't mean much. Of course, for most people, because they drive, they know what speed means. If you put 110 kilometers per hour, you know what that means. But if you put just numbers like G-force, that doesn't tell people necessarily what it means. So in the very first place is about not only to capture the data, and where we believe that we are world class in this, is to do that to a level that basically our data is frame synchron to what you are showing. So most of our systems work under 50 milliseconds. This is end-to-end to the graphics that is actually also created by our systems for the broadcasters. And we believe, similar than what was said before, that we can also distribute that not just on linear TV. Many of you as media houses have also your OTT platforms where we can actually display this data on device. So on a smart TV as such, with additional overlay of the data. Again, I like more to talk about stories rather than data, because data just as numbers doesn't mean much as such. And where we have also invested a lot is in order to use this data to actually analyze what is happening. Right now you couldn't see it, but ultimately the best would be after third, fourth skier to be able to see which are the critical gates. Which are the critical gates where we might not give that on screen, but for your commentators to actually to focus that. Even if there is a screen for the commentators which provide additional information in order to really tell the audience more than what they see. So that's a big important part of it.
And you've spoken about the challenge of selecting the right data. What's the process for that? Who is involved in making sure that what we see on screen is relevant and adds to the broadcast?
So as I said, in alpine skiing, one of the best people we're working on is with Manu. He sometimes directly even talks to our colleagues who are in the basically data analytics side, and then we see how can that be visualized. Now, there are limitations with linear TV. We know that. That's why we need to be extra precise and extra creative in this area in order to give the people not just numbers or some red and blue lines, but make people understand what's going on.
And a point that Manu touched on was about predictability and projection as well. Is that something that you can speak to, and the importance of one over the other?
Well, we are not in the business of betting.
Yeah.
So, and that's where we don't want to be. And the story has, as Manu also said, has an element of suspense, is an element of excitement. You don't want to explain stuff. I mean, honestly, as you know, we cover most of the sports. In certain sports, we can see things and predict the result of the race, which we don't want to go there, because it's also about integrity of the sport. For us, is especially Swiss Timing part of the Swatch Group, it is extremely important that we protect the integrity of the data and the integrity of the sport, and not to go there where our storylines are ultimately become tools for betting and so forth.
And we've only got a few minutes left, so I just wanted to move on to AI specifically. Give us a sense of what role AI is playing at the moment in helping you to process a lot of that data, and also what some of the challenges are in training some of those language sets as well.
Well, AI, we've been using AI across many lines already since years ago, when you have seen in figure skating in Beijing, where we show the height of a jump and so on. That's not based on sensors. That's based on our computer vision systems capturing the athlete's performance in real time. And I'm talking again, sub 50 milliseconds real time. That's one part where we use AI, but we have been using even AI in the sense that we have been experimenting of putting our race data there and running AI over it with a large language model, actually telling you what the story of this race was. Where was the race lost? Where was the race won? And other examples are to put even a race into context. What could you tell stories, and this would be products we would be happily rolling out in Milano Cortina and much more towards LA, where we can actually put that event, the race happening into a context with what has happened in the historically before, for example, and Léon Marchand against Phelps, who would have performed in which way. I know, sorry, it's swimming, but we are across many different sports where we do that, and you certainly too. So yeah, I mean, there is almost no limit of what is possible here. We just have to be very careful and work very closely with the colleagues in sport.
Great. Manu, can you hear us okay still?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we just heard a little from Ivan about the future, and we've got 1 minute left. So I just wanted to leave the final word with you. Looking ahead to the future, how do you feel that what we see on screen, the graphics that are displayed, how is that likely to evolve over the next sort of 2 to 3 years?
I would love that AI is helping us to design what a perfect course, what's a perfect story on Alpine Hill. You know, Kitzbühel has been famous for many factors, but one magic factor they have a course where if you are still 1 second delay on the start, you can still win the run. Close hill. So our AI, now with all this data we can collect, they should tell us, hey guys, if you want a big show, your hill must be developed in this way, and the course set must be developed in this way. And the prediction for us is helping the audience to understand a projection would mean, from my point of view, that you kill the suspense because you give the winner before it starts, and which is wrong in our sense. So the future will be given by understanding and also designing things where you create the drama by the circumstance. You create the drama by developing the best king you can have.
Fantastic. Well, listen, we're out of time, but thank you so much, Manu. Thank you for bearing with us and for joining us remotely. Even, thank you for joining us in person, and thank you both for sharing all of those insights with us. Please join me in thanking Ivan and Manu.